Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence to not only remember our troops serving our countries overseas, but all those lost to COVID-19 and their families, and all of our veterans. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please have a seat.
Notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Law have been satisfied concerning this meeting. The Home News Tribune and the Star Ledger published the notice as it was updated on June 5th, 2020. A copy of the schedule was posted on the municipal bulletin board and should be so noted in the minutes of this meeting. Councilman Spiller.
Here.
Councilman Ficarra.
Here.
Councilwoman Meehan.
Here.
Councilwoman Drum.
Here.
Councilman Patel.
Here.
Councilman Anderson.
Here.
Councilman Bauer.
Here.
Vice President Small.
Here.
And President De Jesus.
Here.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from October 20th and October 27th?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Beginning with second reading ordinances, we will take letter A first, which is ordinance authorizing the sale of property located on Homestead Avenue in the Avenel section. Can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be opened?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter A only. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public portion be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letter B is an ordinance amending Chapter 10 entitled Taxi Cabs and Limousines. This is an amendment which simply is a housekeeping item to address a statute that was incorrectly listed in the ordinance book. With that said, can I get a motion that this ordinance be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be opened?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letter B only. Hearing no comment from the public, can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion. Second.
Any comments or questions from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Letters C and D are both ordinances. We'll take them by consent on second reading. The first is amendments to Chapter 7 entitled Traffic. This is to add a handicap parking at 48 West Pond Road and at Harrow's Gate, 323 Gill Lane. And D is an amendment to impose residential permit parking on a portion of Freeman Street in Woodbridge proper. Can I get a motion that these ordinances both be taken up on second and third reading and the public hearing be opened?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The public hearing is now open on letters C and D. C and D only. There are no comment from the public. Can I get a motion that the public hearing be closed, the ordinance be adopted and submitted to the mayor for approval as required by law?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Ordinances on their first reading, letters E, F, G, and H. Can I get a motion that these ordinances be introduced on first reading, published in the Home News Tribune on November 13th, 2020, with public hearing to be held on November 24th, 2020 at 6 p.m.?
Motion. Second.
Any questions or comments from council? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. And finally, resolutions 1 through 29 tonight. If I can get a motion to approve 1 through 29 by
Motion.
consent.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
We will now move to the public portion of the meeting. Please approach the microphone if you would like to make a statement. State your name and the area of the township you live in, and remember there is a one-time 5-minute time period.
James Dabrowski, Woodbridge proper. On October 27th, Woodbridge Township held its fiscal year 2021 budget adoption meeting at the Woodbridge Community Center. Upon arrival, I immediately noticed vehicles in the parking lot with anti-black, racist, Blue Lives Matter flags, Gadsden flags, and Trump flags, and sadly knew exactly what to expect. The gymnasium was filled with overwhelmingly white residents, many openly displaying Blue Lives Matter and Trump paraphernalia, who had come out to applaud Woodbridge for completely ignoring and dismissing our Woodbridge Youth for Liberation and Equity. When asked if the township was supporting the Woodbridge Police Department's demand for a 1% budget increase of $340,000 for an exorbitant total of $34 million, our council president sharply answered, absolutely. Mayor John McCormick said this was for 215 police officers, yet another increase from last year's 210. At the swearing-in ceremony for these 5 new white cops, Mayor McCormick delivered the following tone-deaf remarks. It's no secret that right now it's a very difficult time to be a police officer. In the country, in the world, everywhere. Woodbridge Township is completely and totally committed to our police force. We are not defunding any police department. We are in fact growing our police force. We had plans to do 5 this year and 5 next year, and we're sticking to that. McCormick completely disregards the fact that it's always been a difficult time to be black in America, and that the police chose their job and can always choose to do something else if they oppose our massive, inclusive, and inspiring racial justice movement, just as their predecessors opposed the civil rights movement. If only Woodbridge was even a fraction as committed to anti-racism as it is to its overwhelmingly white, openly Trump-supporting police force. And I hope you're not naive enough to think that Mark Repace, the disgraced Woodbridge police dispatcher who made an obscenely racist comment about an 8-year-old black boy at a Black Lives Matter protest, is somehow an anomaly. He felt comfortable saying that black boys go from handsome to a threat at age 17, give or take a year or two, for a reason. He was allowed to resign rather than being fired for a reason. And it's not only because his daddy, Keith Repace is the Woodbridge fire captain. Speaking of which, I recently learned that Mark Repace is now on the list for the Woodbridge Fire Department and is all set to be hired for a paid position. Corey Spiller and Howie Bauer as Woodbridge firefighters and Nancy Drum as the mother of a Woodbridge firefighter, you should be outraged and appalled. But considering how Corey and Howie, along with their ex-cop buddy Brian Small, support the defeated and disgraced white nationalist Donald Trump, I wouldn't at all be surprised if they also support this sickening plot. I remember witnessing Mark's father, Keith, outrageously block Councilman Kyle Anderson's wife from entering the council chambers on October 29, 2019, while the Woodbridge PBA president, backed by a wall of cops, attacked and lied on Councilman Anderson, our only black elected official, so it's easy to see where Mark gets his awful bigotry from. I've seen some other Woodbridge cops' social media posts, and many are equally, if not more, terrifying than Mark's. If you truly cared about all of Woodbridge residents, you'd ask me to provide you with the screenshots immediately, but you don't care. You've proven to be willing bricks in that oppressive blue wall, which so desperately needs to be dismantled, along with the violent system of white supremacy it upholds and protects. It's no surprise at all that a black person in Woodbridge is 70% more likely to have force used on them by the police than a white person. The mayor, who refuses to even say Black Lives Matter and had the audacity to call the largest racial justice movement our nation has ever seen, quote unquote, awful, can try to dispute that frightening fact and cry fake news all he wants, but both NJ.com and an investigative reporter who worked on the NJ.com Force report affirmed that this alarming statistic is indeed accurate and specific to Woodbridge and Woodbridge only. At the aforementioned budget adoption hearing, retired Woodbridge firefighter Ed McGuinn of Port Reading wore a despicably racist hat that read, "Black Guns Matter," with a picture of an assault rifle on it. I stood exactly where I was supposed to in the roped-off area designated for video and recorded the meeting, including Mr. McGuinn, as I have every right to. I was singled out by the council president and questioned what I was recording and told that I had to ask people's permission to record them, a courtesy that is never afforded to any of us when Christo Macropolis comes in here with his MAGA hat, waving his Confederate flag and shoving his camera phone in our faces. I was then kicked out when I responded that I'm recording the entire meeting, which includes a man wearing a Black Guns Matter hat. The council president had me escorted out of the gym by a white cop who intimidatingly followed me with an angry demeanor all the way through the lobby until I retreated outside into the parking lot in fear for my safety. My friend Mary Nasser soon followed, informing me that the council president kicked her out as well when she gasped in disbelief at Mr. McGuinn actually saying that 27-year-old Walter Wallace Jr. deserved to be murdered by Philadelphia police. The disgustingly racist Ed McGuinn also stated that Woodbridge police are not racist and that if they were, we'd know about it. Well, we certainly know about Mark Repace, and I'm sure the reporters who broke that embarrassing national news story would be more than willing to do a follow-up piece if you let Mark slither from the WPD to the WFD. Woodbridge deserves so much better, and we will continue to demand better. Black Lives Matter.
Any other comments from the public this evening?
Hi, my name is Madison Corral and I live in Fords. This is the first council meeting that I've physically attended, but I've been watching them on YouTube for the past couple of months. And one thing I noticed from the budget hearing 2 weeks ago was that body cameras were not being included in the budget for the fiscal year 2021. I believe Charity Daramola asked Mayor McCormick about it. And when I heard this, it was a little shocking to me because, in my opinion, I feel like body cameras have become a necessity, not just for the protection of the public, but it would be a good use for the police as well. And I decided to do a little research on it because I didn't want to come here and speak without knowing anything. And in an article published by NewJersey.com, it was found that Woodbridge is one of 4 of New Jersey's largest towns without body cameras. And it also provided a list of New Jersey's 10 largest towns, and one of them was our neighbor Edison, which actually does have body cameras. And the article also said that Woodbridge was waiting for body cameras to be mandated by the state, and that's why we don't have them and why they weren't in the new budget for the fiscal year 2021. Edison, which is one of New Jersey's top 10 biggest towns, as Woodbridge is, has a population nearly identical to Woodbridge. I believe it's only a difference by a couple hundred or 1,000. And they do have body cameras and didn't wait for it to become mandatory by the state. My question is, if I can ask a question, is why a town like Woodbridge is waiting to get this done, meanwhile a town so similar to ours already has?
We aren't opposed to body cams, and we have said that we are waiting for the state to tell us what kind of body cams are approved by them before we get them.
So you're just waiting to see what kind are going to be approved?
Yes.
Okay. And then also I just want to comment on something that was just said. If Mark Repace is up for a hire in the fire department, my personal opinion is I don't want someone who clearly shows racist opinions to be hired by the township to work for our fire department. I don't think that's appropriate, and I don't think they should be hired, but I'm not in charge of that, but that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments this evening?
John Witalik, Woodbridge. I want to first thank Mr. Fakar over here to make me aware of it, that Jimmy over there touched the microphone, so I don't do it again. So thank you, Mr. Fakar. Where are we going to start this? Why is always Woodbridge white cops? White. I can be quite often. It's not just the white cops. We got Spanish cops, we got Indian cops. They're not actually white. Then I don't want to be thinking about it. Leave them alone. Cops are taught to be cops. Don't try to re-educate to be something else. They are police that do what they're supposed to do, and again, they got support of the public. Now myself, again, being foreigner myself for 60-some years, I knew when I was wrong and I know what's right, but I never had a problem with the Woodbridge cops or any other cops, as a matter of fact. As soon as I open my mouth, they know I'm from out here. So how come I don't feel discriminated? Why do some people feel discriminated? Because of the color. You are what you are, be proud of what you are, but go on. This is not going to change anything. This is not going to help any of us. We can fight until kingdom comes. We're not going to accomplish anything. So you people can come over here every 2 weeks and talk about it, organize it, what you want to do again. We want our cops to be cops. That's what they're trained for. They'll be forever, ever. We don't want to change them. We don't want them to be psychologists. We want them to be cops. If you want any other people, then we get it. But let cops be a cops. Don't just put the white cops. White cops. Please. This got to end. Because people will not tolerate it. And I thought that would end as the election comes. But again, other towns that have problems. Other towns got white cops. Are the cops better white cops over there in Woodbridge? I don't think so. But nobody probably allows them to do it. Why don't you go to other towns, if you represent the white cops or against the white cops, and tell those people, we got trouble with white cops. Please, we're not going to do anybody any good. And people who will tolerate so far, and we have to stand up. We got rights too. I'd like to be a majority. Thank you, and thank you.
Are there any other comments this evening?
Shaw Avenel. Just a few months ago, the mayor stood in front of thousands of people to brag and boast about how this township, under his leadership, acted quickly in response to Mark Repace's racist and unacceptable comments. It should be noted, many raised questions why he was allowed to resign then instead of being fired. By resigning, he was still allowed the chance to be rehired by the township later on. It turns out those doubts and concerns were justified. Mark Repace is in line now to be in a paid position as a fireman in Woodbridge, which goes to show that we can't even do the bare minimum correctly. Someone who can make obscene jokes about a black boy being a threat deserves no job that is public and tax funded. It is even more shameful that it's only been 5 months since he made those comments. The council likes to sit on its hands and shy away from making any statement of substance, especially if it have anything to do with race. This council reduces this role to just local issues. So I'm curious whether any of you have the courage to speak out on this local issue. In my 20 years of living here, I have never seen anybody in power put their foot down and be unapologetically against racism. After my time is up, I'm fearful this will remain true. Repace's pending rehirement by the township would signal to me that despite how much you label this the best town around, it's not. It's just a town that's filled with nepotism, corruption, and isn't against racism. I was appalled to hear what happened at the budget hearing recently. This notion that what happened was a win for WOW is just one that makes no sense to me. You're saying that we had to pour in months of energy and time, be denied by our own mayor and council conversations in town halls, had to endure death threats and harassments, but somehow that's a win? That's delusional. Sure, a little extra money to mental health is a step forward, but that barely even scratches the surface of the numerous issues that still remain. And without repeating myself, the behavior and etiquette of a lot of leaders in this town is something that has alienated so many young people, whether they're part of WILD or not, and that's something I'm afraid throwing $200,000 for you isn't gonna fix. I've been doing an independent study for school since the start of the semester, focused in part on this town and power structures and how that relates to creating change. And I must say, it feels like a losing strategy for you all to consistently aim to appeal to types of residents at that budget hearing, while finding countless ways to try and shame those who are unapologetically advocating for change. It is no secret most of the people in that room are probably registered Republicans, meaning they can't vote in a Democrat local primary, a primary that had less than 3,000 votes in the last election in 2019. What is the strategy for you all? Because it feels to me like it's a losing one. For you to cozy up to them when they can't and don't even vote for you. For someone who cares so much about winning elections and hanging on to power, I think the mayor would be smart enough to realize that. And realize the more he upsets minority residents, young residents, the sooner he'll feel the emotions of losing, especially considering the demographic changes with all the new apartments that he's building. If you thought you could throw a few $1,000s and get rid of a coalition in this town that's growing daily through our community and on social media, you're wrong. And it's crazy to me that people who just 2 months ago found out racism existed in Woodbridge won't in good faith trust our judgment and vision, but instead would rather find comfort in their privilege. That's not good enough. I also want to address part of this to Speaker Coughlin. I'm glad that New Jersey voters had the chance to legalize weed. I know our state has been respectively progressive when it comes to policy, which I commend you for, but I'm a bit concerned that the proposed bill to actually implement the weed legislation doesn't consider strong expungement for those who have marijuana records. And instead, I actually read in the bill that it's going to redistribute tax funds to local police departments, which already have a lot of funding, instead of putting that money towards healthcare, housing, or the social services that those who are impacted by the criminalization of weed could use. I hope you can rethink that. Like I said before, I think you do a pretty good job, but I hope we can make that law as equitable as possible. As we know, black and brown communities are the ones who are affected by that the most, and I don't think putting that money back into policing those communities would be really the smartest decision. And then regardless of the rest of the council, the fight will continue. If this township's hiring practices can still lead to racists being able to fail upwards, its institution is broken. And I hope your hired consultants can see what some of us have experienced for years. This town has a lot of work to do. And it will take more than just some money to solve some of it. It will take leaders who are courageous and bold, even if that means sacrificing some of their own privileges for the greater good. And I hope to see some of you sometime soon being able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President, if you will, I just want to clarify the record. This governing body nor this administration has any jurisdiction over the Woodbridge Fire Department nor their hiring practices. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public this evening?
When I spoke at the budget hearing, McCormick's comments afterwards were something along the lines of, "We don't change culture." Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's nonsense. We are the culture. You guys enforce the culture. We cultivate culture through our actions and our decisions daily. So when you are writing for our town paper, are you writing on behalf of Wild? Are you giving them the opportunity to speak so that the people who read that paper might glean something from a town perspective as opposed to a national perspective? One that doesn't paint the people who are trying to do good in this town as crazy people, and instead those who just want to act positively. When you're discussing local business with different business owners, are you pushing forward for the businesses of colors in town? Are you shining a spotlight on those businesses as well as everything else? Are you making sure that entrepreneurial people of color feel supported in this town and that the regulations and policies will be fair for them? For those of you that have connections to first responders, have you been able to sit back and look at your positions here and your positions in your personal and previous careers and say, there's an opportunity for me to recognize my privilege and bridge this gap that exists between the people who are uncomfortable and fearful in this town and those that you would consider your friends in the police department, fire department, all that jazz. When you do your job and you do it well, you don't ask and beg for recognition solely because it will feel better. I am deeply appreciative of the work that you've been doing. You know that I respect you. But on a very difficult night, to come up to someone afterwards and say something along the lines of, "You're a warrior," while moments before you were asking during the budget hearing, come on, you have to recognize the little bit of work that we've been doing, right? We're making little steps, right? That was inappropriate. So just those moments where we get to shape our culture. The choices that you make every day, the decisions that you make in these council meetings, the decisions that you make on behalf of the council, the mayor's decisions, they shape our culture. And what you choose to do and what you choose to accept and what you allow to happen here reflects our culture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President, may I?
Yes.
When I spoke at the budget hearing, what I tried to say, and Michelle wasn't there, was that there were things that were done, as small as you may consider them, that were a direct result of what the Wild folks were bringing to the table. I'm not saying that to make them go away. You can come every meeting because I respect what you're doing. But I wasn't trying to put Charity on the spot. That was my attempt to congratulate her on being able to speak in front of that very difficult crowd. And in the private moment when you were there and Amber was there, my heart went to her because she spoke out in that difficult crowd. And I just tried to offer her my feeling of respect. That's all it was respect.
That moment afterwards was you being kind, and I recognize that. But in the meeting,
Victoria, we can talk about this because if it's between me and you, I'm just trying to state, you stated how you felt, I'm just stating how I felt. I don't want to cut you off, but this is not the way that this works. Made me forget something. I wanted to say one other thing. Again, and Michelle, you said something or alluded to something that, I think I could speak for the council, they can speak for themselves, but not everything I do as a councilman is a direct result of my desire to get reelected. I don't do that. I personally don't do that. I don't think that they do. And I really resent that. And to the point where I personally, in front of friends, don't like to be called a politician. I prefer to be called an elected official. And again, when I make my comments about whether it's the mental health or whether it's the evaluation program, I realize in the world that those are small steps. But they're steps. We didn't get to this point overnight. It took a century to get to this terrible place that we're at right now. It's going to take time to go back. And that's it. And I'm not debating what you said. And Victoria, you know I'll talk to you anytime. So I just don't want to get the back and forth. Sorry, Council President.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments this evening from the public?
Good evening. Maria Pearson in Hope Lawn, or if you go by our zip code, it's Perth Amboy. That was my question.
So can you state your name again?
Maria Pearson in Hope Lawn. Would you like me to take this off? Would it be easier? Can you hear me better? Okay. I applaud everybody that gets up here and talks, and you're prepared, and I am not. I just wrote simple notes about the township. I live in Hope Lawn, and a lot of construction had been going on. There is a new 96-unit apartment complex. There is now a storage facility that's going to be built right across from the supermarket that finally opened after years, and some kind of warehouse. It is crazy there. The traffic is unbearable. So my question is, all these big businesses, we should have more rateables, correct? If they're paying more taxes, does that mean our taxes don't have to go up? Because they seem like they go up, and all I see is apartment complexes everywhere. Our taxes are going to have to go up because the kids are going to have to go to the school. The schools are going to have to hire more teachers. It's just as, well, hopefully we get to that point anyway. So my question is how is that benefiting the residents? Because that was in the statement that I had read. I don't know who wrote it, if the mayor's not here, so I can't ask him, but I believe it was from him, how much it was going to benefit the residents. How is it benefiting me, is what I would like to know. Is it going to benefit me because my taxes are going to stay the same and not go up again? Probably not. Are the roads going to get fixed? Probably not. So how is it benefiting us? How is all these big buildings going up by where Riffy's were? I mean, that's been going on for a long time. More and more people are coming into the township. How are we addressing the extra taxes that are going to have to be made? Because if they're apartment complexes, they're not homeowners, they're not paying taxes. And if the owners of these complexes are getting tax credits, how is that helping us? Because you know how that's going to go. They'll be here for 30 years, make their money, and then they disappear, sell the place, and it goes to hell. Maybe not. I've only been in this township for 33 years. I haven't seen anything like that, but I've never seen building like it has been. Okay, so that was one question. And I did ask about why our zip code. Why do we still have a Perth Amboy zip code? And as I was coming in today, I was in my car and I got a call from a friend who bought a new phone, and I mentioned this to him. He says, Maria, you're crazy. It's not going to make a damn difference. And he told me a little bit of history, and I wonder if any of you know why Hope Lawn is still considered part of Perth Amboy. It was during the Revolutionary War. Perth Amboy was some really big shit town, excuse my language. And all these towns like Caseby and Hope Lawn were all part of it, and then they started to break away. Do you know that? I don't know if you know that. I didn't know this. So in either case, for some reason, Hope Lawn maintained and still was part of Perth Amboy. With that said, not a problem. I pay my taxes to Woodbridge. My homeowner's insurance and my car insurance is higher because I have that zip code. And I know that for fact. My daughter moved out to Avenel in December, exact same insurance company. Her rate went down $40 a month. That's a lot of money for a young person. You know, $500 a year, it's a lot. For an old person, it's a lot of money. So why hasn't anybody ever said anything? I can't believe in Hope Lawn, there's a lot of elderly people, a lot of senior citizens have been there forever. I've known many of them all the years that I've been there, and they're up in age, and I can't believe people are coming and saying, why can't we have a zip code? even if it's the same as Casey, or it's the same as Seawarren, you know, why can't we have a zip code? But part of Woodbridge, I'm so sick of going on the phone, when you tell somebody my address, when you put it in the GPS, it's gonna say Perth Amboy, but you're gonna get to me. Why do I have to do that? I live here. Why should I? Okay, so now, here's another thing. How long does it take, and this is not a joke, how long does it take to change a light bulb in a street light? Because I called a month ago today. I called PSC&G on the Monday before, a month ago yesterday. I called the mayor's office, and I chuckled when I spoke to the secretary because I remember when they first put that street light in. It's on the side of my bedroom, and I'm telling you, it's like the sunlight. At 9 o'clock at night, that light was so bright, and I was a little annoyed. My neighbor was like, "My God, Maria, what's going on over there?" We all thought something was happening. A street light. Since then, I got used to it. Now it's out. It's very dark on that street. So, really, how long does it take? What do I have to do to get that damn light bulb changed? So that's just my little points. My ex-husband, or my still husband, not living together husband, he said, "Maria, you want to go to these meetings? Why don't you complain about the things that can get done and it's easy fix? Hope Lawn Park is a disaster." It's
Thank
so
you, your time is
bad.
up.
I don't go.
Thank you, ma'am, your time is up.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Thank you.
Regarding the zip code, we have petitioned, I believe is Congress or the United States Postal Office to change the zip code. So we have petitioned, and unfortunately it hasn't been done. And regarding the street light, what's the address?
It's in front of 373 John Street.
We'll contact PS.
373, there's 4 houses on that street.
Okay, we'll contact PS and, you know, the,
Council President, also, we received an email regarding Hope on Park through Councilman Kyle Anderson, and the Department of Public Works is looking into it right now. So I'll stop by, and that's my word, I'll check it out, and I'll give you my, if you can't wait for after meeting, I'll give you my card, and I can talk to you about the zip code too. I know that the administration over the years has been trying. We get a runaround from the government because they set their routes up according to what's easiest for them to deliver mail, not by their boundaries, of course.
But it doesn't make any sense, because
Yeah,
literally right there.
I truly understand. I grew up in Hope Lawn, live in Forest now. I did Google about the zip code, so I got some information for you. So if you want to see me after the meeting, thank you.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, I'm Reverend Donna Stewart. I represent the Perth Amboy area branch of the NAACP, which does service the Woodbridge area. And again, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to speak, and it's good to see each and every one of you here, and that everyone is present and accounted for. That's a good sight to see. And again, I commend all of those, whether I agree with you or not, for taking the time out to come to these meetings and standing before the microphone and speaking, because we do have that right. In reference to the hiring practices, and thank you for that teachable moment that this body does not have the power or authority to hire, but this is a public forum and people are allowed to speak so you can hear what people, think and what they have to say. Because one may start out as an elected official, but over time, especially time after time, term after term, they can become a politician. So with that being said, we have to be mindful that some elected officials do become politicians, and that's not necessarily a negative, but it can be. But with that, you all are people of influence. You have influence with people in town, community, county, state, wherever, however your sphere of influence goes. So that's why some people come and continue to speak and say the same thing, because they want you to know that they're not giving up. So to say coming and saying the same thing every 2 weeks is a waste of time is not, because as a Black American and African American, slavery was on the books and it was allowed. And if people kept saying nothing is going to change, I would still be one of those enslaved people. Many of you are immigrants. Your families chose to come to the United States. Me and my ancestors, we did not, okay? So the government, local or otherwise, and Mr. Vaccaro recommended a book that I looked at, and I did go through the book. And regardless of how we got to where we are where we are, and change needs to happen. Culture change. We haven't always cared about safety belts. I'm 54 years old. They were not always law. We rode in cars without safety and seatbelts, and now they're law. Because why? Culture changed because people died. Drinking and driving was part of the culture until people died. So things changed because people opened their mouth and people lost their lives. Well, with racism being as high as it is, people are losing their lives on both sides because we're acting like it doesn't happen. And because it doesn't happen to us directly, we act like it doesn't happen. But it is happening. The hate, the venom is still happening, it's still going on. In reference to the person that's up for a position with the fire department or what have you, it's sad because like someone stated earlier, comments were made on social media and other platforms where this person felt like they had the liberty to say and do whatever, and it was okay. And they resigned, lost nothing, but now they have the opportunity for a full-time paid opportunity. And that's sad, and that's telling other people, why should I want to be a part of and trust the system when the system doesn't seem to work and people get to resign instead of getting fired, or when they're getting to apply for jobs. I was just looking at the news today in Oceanside, New York, where someone who was elected as a sanitation commissioner did some disgusting things against race, various races, Jews, LGBTQ, people who are disabled, with autism, animals, all kinds of hateful things. And because he just got elected, they're saying there's nothing that can legally be done unless people bring forth money and file legal petition against this person. Why should people like this even have an opportunity? If I come and apply for a job, you're scrubbing everything about me. You're scrubbing my social media and everything. But yet people like this continue to do things like this over and over. And that's just the one that we heard about in Oceanside, New York. We know what people are, things that have gone on, because it's been brought out over and over again, month after month after month. So I just say, to all of the people who are standing on the side of right and hopefully on the right side of history, keep fighting, keep standing, keep doing your work, keep being diligent, don't give up, because the fight is not over. And the Bible says the race is not given to the faint, but to he who endures to the end. And we have to continue to endure, no matter what the faces that you see, because all you can see now are the eyes, you don't get to see the faces. Keep fighting, keep standing, keep doing your work. Again, I stand with you and I'm proud of you. Michelle, thank you so much for doing what you do, and all of the young people that are involved with WILD and all the adults that support you. And to those of you who are listening and hearing, and I said it last time, they're doing what we've asked them to do, and they should be commended for it. You may not agree with it, and again, it's not for us to agree, but it's for us to listen. And then lastly, I'll say this. The NAACP is a nonpartisan organization. It's a civil rights organization, and we stand on the side of that which is right. And right now we believe that standing up with these young people is on the side of that which is right. If you're do that which is right, we'll stand up with you too. We'll fight for you. We'll put money to help your cause and your situation. It's not about color. But I don't know about you, other than you who go to tanning salons and sit on the beach and dye your hair and all that kind of stuff, the hair that I have is my natural color, okay? I'm proud to be gray.
Thank you, ma'am.
Last, I just want to say, I don't get to choose my color, my race, or my sex. You get to choose to be a police officer or a firefighter.
Thank you, ma'am.
Are there any other comments this evening from the public? Hearing no other comment, can I get a motion that the public comment portion be closed?
Motion.
Second. Any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
We will now move to the our agenda portion of the meeting. My agenda is in order, but I would like to recognize that tomorrow is Veterans Day. So we should take a moment to thank everyone that is a veteran in all of our military forces, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard. Did I forget anybody? I hope not, but you know what? I have family that have been in the military for years, my little brother included, and if it wasn't for the veterans and all the men and women that have served our country in all of the wars that we've participated in, and still to this day, so many young people join the military. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have in the United States of America. It's a democracy because of the people that serve. So I would like to take a moment to just remember everyone that has passed and everyone that has served in service of our country. To me, they are to be commended and they are to be remembered. Moving down to item number 10, the Free Public Library of Woodbridge. Woodbridge Library will host a Meet the Author Zoom with local author Afia Atakora on next Tuesday, November 17th at 7 p.m. Woodbridge Township resident Afia Atakora was born in the United Kingdom and resides in New Jersey, where she still lives. She is a Colonia High School alumni and a former employee of the library. She graduated from NYU and has an MFA from Columbia University, where she was the recipient of the Alba Fellowship. Her fiction has been nominated for a Pushcart Prize, and she was the finalist for the Hurston Wright Award for College Writers. Conjure Women is her first book. Visit woodbridgelibrary.org to register. Again, this will be next Tuesday at 7 p.m. and it's on Zoom, so you got to contact the library to register. The Woodbridge libraries continue to be open on a special schedule, and they have added Sundays at the main library from 1 through 5. Please visit the library website for COVID-19 guidelines and hours by location. And moving down to item number 14, the Girl Scouts. Girl Scout Ambassador Haley Resta is working on her Gold Award, and her project is to raise awareness for the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a genetic disorder that causes chronic pain, a lack of collagen, and several other health issues. And she became aware of EDS when her sister scout, Grevin Lewis, joined their troop when she was in kindergarten. Part of her project, it's going to be held in person. They will be hosting a color run this Saturday, November 14th, from 10 to 2 p.m. at Warren Park here in Woodbridge. Again, they will adhere to all social distancing guidelines due to COVID-19. But if you can, go support the Girl Scouts on their color run for a good cause. They will have vendors. They would have, I think they would have cookies and things that the Girl Scouts do, cupcakes, because I know Grevin was baking cupcakes, and she actually donated over 1,000 cupcakes to many people in the township. It is my understanding again that it is this Saturday, November 14th, from 10 to 2 p.m. at Warren Park. So I encourage, if you have time, just to stop by and say hi to the Girl Scouts. That is all that I have for right now. Council President Small.
Thank you, Madam President. Number 17 on my agenda, the Light Parade, which is in conjunction with Small Business Saturday on Main Street. The Light Parade will begin at 6:15. This is to highlight the township's emergency services: fire, police, EMS, OEM, and CERT. There is a whole list of streets on our website that the parade will drive through. It's driving through every town in Woodbridge Township. On another note, there will not be a Christmas parade this year due to COVID, unfortunately. So this is an opportunity to, number one, see a parade, and number two, support our emergency services. So please go to our website and look up what town you live in Woodbridge, and where the parade route is, and I'm sure it's going to be a very memorable night. Just a couple announcements. Again, as the President said, thank you to all our veterans. We wouldn't have the privileges that we have today if we didn't fight for our country and do the things that all our veterans have done for this great nation. And again, thank you to all our first responders, police, fire, and EMS, and God bless America. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilman Spiller?
Thank you, Council President. Item number 1, Avenel's Very Merry Holiday Lighting is approaching. Please put in your calendars Sunday, November 29th. That's the Sunday Thanksgiving weekend. I know we have another meeting before that. I just want to get it on calendars. Located at the Avenel Firehouse from 4 to 6, with a lighting a 17-foot tree and a 6-foot menorah. Schedule, we have a holiday-themed train ride, photos with Santa, horse and carriage rides, DJ, holiday caroling, light refreshments and vendors. Obviously, it will be different from years past. Social distancing is a must. We already have our Santa 6 feet apart from our elves, and our Grinch masks are required. So, and as Council Vice President Small said, each fire department, each emergency service organization will have something lit in the parade. Our engine will be on display. So, like get some type of holiday flair. Item number 2, Curtains Restaurant is now offering a weekend brunch on Saturdays and Sundays from 10:30 to 1:30. We've been there, it's very good. You can visit www.curtainsrestaurant.com for the menu and details Item number 4, I'd like to commend and thank the Woodbridge Golden Saints based in Port Ready. Recently, they held a rally for all of their final year athletes and cheerleaders as they will be going to high school. While the season wasn't what they hoped for with the pandemic, it was a nice send-off and a really nice event. In addition, the Golden Saints also made financial donations to the Port Reading Fire and First Aid Squad, the Avenue Fire Department, and the Woodbridge Police Department for an incident that happened over the center. So thank you for their wonderful generosity. The rest of my agenda is in order, Council President. Just a couple announcements. As everyone said so far, I'd like to wish all our veterans, including my dad, a happy Veterans Day. Thank them for their service. Our privileges that we have is because of them. Oh, I have Happy Thanksgiving, but I just realized we're meeting, so have a Happy Thanksgiving. But thank you to all our emergency responders, fire, EMS, and Woodbridge Police Department, OEM, and CERT for all their tireless work. Be safe, be smart. God bless America. That's all I have this evening, Council President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Meehan?
Thank you. My agenda is in order. I just have some information on some upcoming events. This year, due to COVID-19, we cannot do all the fun things we have in the past, but it doesn't mean we can't continue to collect food for Thanksgiving for those in need and our senior citizens who can't get out of their homes and will be alone. So we will do our turkey trot this year. Unfortunately, we won't bring the children in to go up the street or have the hayride or all those fun things because we need to keep them safe. But we still need to feed people in this town that are hungry. So if you can, please drive by the Evergreen Senior Center on November 21st and drop off items for Thanksgiving baskets. If you have a free turkey that you get from ShopRite or any of the food stores, I would be happy to take it off your hands to put in those baskets. We're also looking for fresh produce and store-bought pies. We will be collecting that day from 10 to 3 o'clock. The Colonia The Colonia annual tree lighting will be held on Saturday, November 28th at 6:30. We will have caroling led by the St. John Vianney's Chorus and local Girl Scout troops as we await the Woodbridge Township Light Parade. That will be traveling down Inman Avenue, as both our councilmen have mentioned. Unfortunately, again, we can't do all the fun things for the kids, but we're hoping the parade will be the highlight of our evening and we can still come together for the holidays and celebrate the start of the season. We're asking if you can to bring a toy for a Woodbridge Township child in need that evening. We'll also be collecting toys for Woodbridge Township children in need started this week, and we'll collect them till December 11th. With the help of the Woodbridge Police Department, we will be delivering those toys before the holidays so the children in need here in our community can have a toy for the holiday. Because we have to do things differently this year, the need will be greater for help. So we're also asking if anybody's interested to adopt a family for the holidays. We could really use some extra hands, and these families could really use some help this year. So if you are interested, you can reach out to me, 732-382-0273. I know the holidays will be different this year, but we can still celebrate them safely as all social distancing rules will apply to both of those events. Going down to item number 10, veterans issues. Sadly, we couldn't honor our veterans this past Sunday during our 4th annual Woodbridge Township Veteran Parade due to COVID. So instead, the township has put together a virtual Veterans Day Parade that will air tomorrow on Veterans Day on Channel 35 at 3:30 and 8:30 p.m. You can also find the video on YouTube, Woodbridge TV. The virtual parade will highlight all our Woodbridge Township World War II veterans, both living and deceased. In recognition of Veterans Day, I would also like to thank all of our veterans that have served in the past, that are currently serving today, and that who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. God bless you and keep you. As the COVID numbers continue to climb up, please remember to wear your masks and social distance as we move into the holiday season. Stay safe. That's all I have.
Thank you. And one note regarding the food pantries, we got to remember during COVID-19, a lot of people have lost jobs. So there's a lot of people that are unemployed. So if we can remember to those of us that are blessed with employment during this time, to be a blessing to others and drop off something at the food pantries, because our residents are in need at this time. Thank you. Councilwoman Drum.
Thank you, Council President. Number 1, the Woodbridge Relay for Life fundraiser is going on now. Mimi's by the Sea Products. If you are interested in supporting this fundraiser, you can contact Amy McDevitt at amyrflwdbg@gmail.com. All funds from this fundraiser will go to Find a Cure for Cancer. 2, the Woodbridge Relay for Life fundraiser is going on now. Mimi's by the Sea Products. If you are interested in supporting this fundraiser, you can contact Amy McDevitt at amyrflwdbg@gmail.com. All funds from this fundraiser will go to Find a Cure for Cancer. The St. James Street Fair did not happen this year. They've been doing it for many, many years right here on Main Street. So instead, they had a craft flea market this past Saturday, and the weather was beautiful and it was very well attended. There were a lot of local small businesses there, so they had an opportunity to make money on their customizable merchandise and a chance for our St. James School and community to benefit from this event. They will be having another one on December 12th from 9 to 3. If anyone is interested in being a vendor, you can email ca.sullivan@yahoo.com, and it's $30 for a table. Number 2, yesterday the mayor and the Chamber of Commerce welcomed a new business to downtown Main Street, 85 Main Street, Diagi Salon, which is next to San Remo Pizzeria. It is a unisex salon, hairstylist, and barber. Small Business Saturday and the holiday stroll will take place on Saturday, November 28th from 4 to 6:30. Main Street will close down at the intersection of Main Street and Route 35 down to Fulton Street at 3 p.m. and open back up at 7 p.m. This annual event will include many festivities and a tree lighting, Christmas classic movies on the big screen, musical performances, and much more. Please bring a non-perishable food item and an unwrapped toy for distribution to our community families in need. In addition, there will be a Woodbridge Winter Holiday Ghost Walk beginning at Tansman Park right around the corner, and the walk will be up and down Main Street, and that is from 4 to 6. Advance tickets may be purchased by calling 908-707-2026. And the exciting news this year, as my councilmate Brian Small just announced, our township's light parade, which will be coming down Main Street at the end of the holiday stroll at 6:15. We're all really excited for that. Thank you. Number 3, the Main Street SID and Social Sidekick Media Marketing Company are working together with all of our downtown business merchants in an effort to kick up awareness and branding for our downtown. All businesses are encouraged to come out and stroll with us, bringing the holiday in celebration of our local downtown. Chamber of Commerce is planning an outside networking event on December 8th at Aquila's Tree Stand from 5 to 7 p.m. outdoors due to the cancellation of the Chamber's annual holiday luncheon. Contact the Chamber of Commerce for details. Number 9, the Animal Shelter. This past Saturday, in collaboration with Moby's and Seawarn, the Animal Shelter staff and volunteer group had a basket raffle fundraiser. They collected $20,000. On behalf of the Animal Shelter, I would like to thank the staff and everyone that donated to this cause on Saturday. And to our local business, Moby's and the band The Nerds, thank you very much for all of your efforts and for this opportunity to be outside and enjoy a great concert for a great cause. And speaking of local businesses, I wanted to do a shout out of thanks to Woodbridge Home Depot and Woodbridge Lowe's for supporting a neighborhood community project that the Jarrett family initiated to build desks to give to local students so they can have a dedicated workspace of their own. With our local businesses' support and the support of many volunteers and others that donated monies and their time, the Jarrett family certainly did a great job of using their expertise in bringing this idea to our community. Thank you very much. Veterans Day is tomorrow, and this may not get to you because I don't know if it will be viewed, but for those of you that are here at the American Legion Post 87 on Berry Street, we'll be having a Veterans Day service beginning at 11 o'clock, and we will travel together to 5 veteran memorial destinations in Ward 1 to honor all of our veterans. Excuse me. My regards to all of our veterans. And I just wanted to say that today I received this on my desk at work. I work at the Chamber of Commerce, and I opened it up, and it was a letter that I felt was important to read. And as I read it, you'll know why. Local beauty salon goes above and beyond required COVID compliance mandates. Physical Features, located at 66 Main Street in Woodbridge, has been in business since 1971. And spares no expense when it comes to customer satisfaction and safety. Not only did they install 2 ultraviolet air purification systems, which kills 99.9% of all viruses, they offer private styling stations. Check us out on Facebook and our website. The salon is owned and operated by Richard and his wife Patricia Anzavino. Richard is an 86-year-old Korean War veteran and has been cutting hair for 72 years and still works behind the chair 3 days a week along with 19 additional employees. It is beyond refreshing, that he said, to hear the constant customer comments reflecting on how safe they feel coming to his salon. Being that Richard is a war veteran for the Korean War, I just wanted to thank him on behalf of the downtown area and the local business for all of his efforts and all the efforts of all of our veterans. And I just wanted to comment, Victoria, if you don't mind, on what you asked me about incorporating culture into the businesses that I try to advocate for with my role at the council and the Chamber of Commerce. Just as one example, we recently did some live Facebook interviews with some of the downtown small business owners. And just for the record, out of the 6 of them that we've done so far, we're going to continue to do them, especially during pandemic, to try to make sure that, you know, we're advocating for our businesses. Of them, one business owner was Peruvian, one was Latino, one is from Haiti, one was Asian Indian, and 2 were white. So for me, doing the interviews, they had asked me to do them because of my familiarity with a lot of the businesses. I thought that that was very telling about the type of businesses that we have here in town. And if there's anything that you think, you know, you have some ideas or something that you think would be good to incorporate with our businesses, I'm more than happy to listen. Okay? That's all I have. Thank you.
Councilman Anderson?
Thank you, Council President. I didn't want to take off my Giants cover. We finally won a game, so proud of it. Although the Jets really let us down last night. That was classic. For the WTYRC, we're still soliciting names from names and contact information so that we can provide to the Woodbridge Police, so that we can keep our youth leagues updated on unfortunately, the sexual predator addresses, and we have to keep our youth leagues updated. So we'd like for all of our league officials to send in their information to the WTYRC. They can also send it to my email address, and I'll gladly share that with them. For the job bank, if you're out of work right now and you have a few college credits, or you at least finish your sophomore year, you can become substitute certified. There is a real need for substitute teachers in our schools, and it's not a bad gig. It's you know, you're interacting with our youth and our children, and there's definitely a need out there. And so if you're out of work right now, you're headed into the holidays, it doesn't take too long to get certified, and you can do that actually through my office in East Brunswick, at County Superintendent's office. You could reach out, and I can, you know, have one of my staff members walk you through what it takes to become substitute certified. So please think about that as a career. I'm going to hold on 3. The Hall of Fame, again, is postponed until the fall of 2021. Our Taste of Woodbridge is going to come back bigger and better next year, but that is on hold for this year. The charity raffle will be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so that's coming up soon. And there's still time to sell some tickets, so you just contact the mayor's office and we can get the tickets to you. All right. Our next drive-in movie will be in the summer. We have our drive-in movies in the summer. And NAACP meeting, as we have Reverend Donna Stewart here, will be November 19th at 7 p.m. Oh, 23rd? Okay, so you heard it here first. November 23rd. Now those meetings are held virtually. If you're interested in a meeting, you can email me and I'll make sure you get on the contact list. There's always good information there. We do have some of our county officials that are there, county elected officials that are there. The MLK event is coming up, and I know that that's an issue that's a topic that's been discussed in my WONAC meeting, so we'll have to continue that discussion so that we can maybe bring something different this year to the MLK event. I'm going to hold on the Independent Club of Colonia and tooling around the town. Our league consolidation, our leagues are in discussion. Our baseball leagues are in discussion. We've been trying to merge some of our leagues. We've merged already our basketball leagues and our football leagues, and we're looking at our baseball leagues. We want to still make sure that there's plenty of kids playing on our baseball fields in Woodbridge Township, but we want to make sure that their league has more than 2 or 3 teams in them that they can play and have a lot of competition. Always look forward, nothing better, and Councilman Small was the league president for Woodbridge Little League. I always enjoyed the rec aspect of Little League because it puts the kids of average talent with kids of better talent, and they really get to mingle with one another, and it's something that you talk about in your day at school and you look forward to at the night at 6 o'clock when you're at Woodbridge Little League. So I'm excited to see that the Woodbridge and Colonial Leagues, and I'm sure the Fords League as well, will get involved in that discussion. Middlesex College, as I said again, they are having you did miss their date for the sign up for fall classes that ended on October 26th, but they will be having winter registration coming up soon. So please just go to Woodbridge, www.middlesexcc.edu. And again, also just to let you know that Middlesex County College is no longer known as Middlesex County College. It will be known as Middlesex College. All right. And let's see. This Sunday, the Junior Knights, they were formerly the Fords Bearcats. They asked me if they could, if I could help them get a game over at Woodbridge High School. They're going to be playing this Sunday, between 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. Go down and support them if you can. It'll be socially distant, of course. But our youth league, they're the one youth league that kept their football season together. They did have one interruption due to COVID, but I'm very happy to see that they're actually continuing with their season. Woodbridge High School is actually enjoying a magical season. They are right now 6-0. They're ranked as high as number 5 in New Jersey. And they have a big game coming up on Friday, and I'm hopeful that we can get that one. I don't know if we're going to get that one on Facebook or not, on Facebook Live, but they're playing Somerville. Somerville comes in with the equally undefeated record, and they've got a storied team over there, and it's actually being played at Woodbridge High School Friday night at 7 p.m. Can't go to the game if you don't have a ticket, so you got to adopt one of the players or something in the meantime, because you got to be a family member to get a ticket. Otherwise, Councilman Small has his group, and I'll tell you right now, I want to give you a lot of credit, because when I go and announce the games, I announce the Kennedy game, it's hard for me to get there. Okay, so it's really good. I really like what we're doing here in Woodbridge. I have to go a block away and announce my intentions for getting closer to the field. So no one gets within a block of the field unless they have a ticket or unless they're announcing the games. So that's the only reason why I keep announcing the games, is so I can get into the games, because I'm not that good at it. Councilman Ficarra's been carrying me for all these years, you know. But we had a lot of fun the other night, and we saw Elizabeth, who JFK has not played since 1970. So Elizabeth came in, and Councilman Ficarra brought a lot of history about the last time that they matched up. He was a sophomore in high school. I was 2 years old. So, just saying. Just saying. Regarding Veterans Day, I had it written down here. I wanted to say, oh, here we go. For Veterans Day, I want to acknowledge all the veterans. I did bump into Mr. Stuart Brandow, who has always been a friend of the council. I bumped into him, I was coming out of Lowe's. And it was so nice seeing him, because he had actually been in a nursing home for a little while because he had sustained an injury. And I saw him, he would come to all of our council meetings every single Tuesday. And my daughter interviewed him when she was in high school, but I saw him when I was coming in Lowe's. He asked about everybody, and he's very healthy, and he's a World War II veteran. So I do thank him for his service. I'd like to acknowledge my uncle, Colonel John Anderson, who was a colonel in the U.S. Air Force, and he was a doctor and an attorney, okay? And he was also at the top of the list for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So when we would go to that Air Force Base, he was #1 in command at that Air Force Base. he ran the hospital there. However, he did endure racism. So he fought for his country, and he, but he, when I talked to him, he's still alive, 82 years old, lives in Virginia. When I talked to him about these types of movements, he said, that's what I fought for. All right, and that's what he fought for himself. Now, on a good side, I'll talk about another veteran who's right here in town, and that's Marlon Terrell, who owns Chick-fil-A. And he's a graduate of U.S. Naval Academy, all right? And he was a submarine engineer, all right? So now let's look at that. To me, that's progress, right? He was in the military, and he grew up poor. I talk to Marlon all the time. He was the kid that he said, I didn't want my daughter dating me, But Marlon is a guy I admire a lot. He's a business owner, and he's moving forward. Victoria, you're a member of the WONAC, not mine, ours. But, and you bring up a good point. So I just want to say, when I came here today, I had this wrapping paper Mr. Mitch put on in my spot here, because I came here after my wife's birthday, and I wrapped her gift right there in his office, and I left the paper. But he likes to keep things neat and get it out of his office. But I bought it from the Goddess Boutique, okay? And the Goddess Boutique is owned by, how do you say her name? Nurul. Okay. So she's a minority. She's a woman of color. And I talked to her about what our initiative was, where we wanted to have like a Zoom call where we could feature different businesses and so forth. So, she's right here on Main Street. And then we have Philip Claremont, a few doors up. He's a black-owned business at Want a Smoothie. And there's a few others. There's the Peruvian restaurant. There's Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, I just said all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do have to highlight them. But I agree with Councilwoman Drum on that. Is that we don't really actually take into account that our businesses on Main Street are very diverse. They are very, very diverse. And then I'll just bring up another one. Is Esteme Cafe on Inman Avenue, right next to the firehouse. And that's another minority-owned restaurant, and they have great food, and I love going there. So I want to point out another thing, some local talent, okay? This is a book that was written by a young man that I coached and his girlfriend. So Kevin Lynch and Jennifer Ling wrote this book, and it's called Hippity Hop Dave. Kevin's a graduate of Bishop Bar, but he lives right behind Woodbridge High School with his family, and I graduated from high school with his mother. And my sons are very good friends with his family, and my wife coached his sister. Coached his sister. And Hippity Hop Dave is about Dave, who happens to be a girl. All right, so it's an interesting book. This is something that maybe teaches our children about uniqueness in the world. All right, but I'm just so proud of him. He just graduated college, and he and his girlfriend decided to write a children's book. And you can find this on. You can follow them on Instagram at adventures at Hippity Hop Dave, and then you can also buy this on Amazon. All right, so I'm very proud of Kevin Lynch and Jennifer Ling for writing this book, and there are some local grown people here. And then lastly, I want to bring up the WONAC. Okay, and you hear me mention it, and I ask people, I put out a post this week about what is it about. So at the farmers market this weekend, there were members of our organization, the WONAC group, handing out reminders for people to vote. And then on the back, it talks about the organization. And the mission is to unite Woodbridge Township through addressing racial and cultural barriers and biases by advocating for equity and justice in the areas of mental health, youth, first responders, community events, education, local government, economic opportunity, and empowerment, okay? As well as establishing communication and positive relations with community stakeholders and political representatives. It's about 25 people that meet regularly, and we have subcommittees on all of those topics that I talked about. And it's a fantastic organization. And I just encourage people to just keep an eye out. We're going to have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and a Twitter page, and we'll be participating in some other events around town. Councilman Ficarra is also a regular attendee and one of the founding members of the group. And I'm just really pleased with it. Some of the members are here, and Amber Jarrett, that you mentioned, is also a regular member and gets involved. And we're so proud of what she did with the community coming together and building desks for these kids during the COVID period. So I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you to all the veterans. Happy Veterans Day to all of you. Take my hat off to all of you, and also Black Lives Matter, and God bless America.
Thank you. Councilman Ficarra?
Thank you, Council President. I too would like to thank all the veterans that are currently serving and those that served our country honorably. Let me start off with the Woodbridge Community Center. The Skyline mini golf and batting cages are now closed. That's the sad news. The good news is that membership is still available. If you've ever been to the community center, it's a huge facility, and social distancing is very easy. Again, membership is available. Through the New Jersey Devils Learn to Play Hockey program, we're also running that at the community center. And as I said, it's affiliated with the Devils, and you don't have to have any experience. There's hockey equipment included. There's so much going on. You can check the community center at njwcc.com, New Jersey Woodbridge Community Center.com, and across the street, equally as busy with just as many programs, is the club, and you can go to theclub.org for all their information. The Saturday after Thanksgiving, November 28th, we have our first annual 5K turkey trot. That'll be at Alvin P. Williams Park. And registration needs to be in advance. Registration is very simple. register.compuscore.com/WB Turkey, Woodbridge Turkey. There's an entry fee. There's no online registration. You can pick your running bids up at 8:30. The race starts at 10. It's our first annual, and again, you have to register online. There's no on-site registration. In the world of environmental issues, I'm so happy to see throughout town now, more and more, you'll see big billboards that are explaining plastic bags for your recycling. When you put your recycles in the recycle, put them in there on their own, not in a plastic bag. Even if it says biodegradable, it just clogs up the machine, and the world of biodegradable recycling is very difficult now. So your recycles go in there on their own. And then finally, I have a personal story real quick. The moral of the story is don't skip your regular medical physicals. A physical for me may have saved my life, and I'll just leave it at that. I think it's just important. You never know, you could feel good. I pride myself in being pretty healthy. You go to a doctor, you find out you're not so healthy. So take the time, get your physicals, even if you feel well, and follow up on it. Thank you very much. Back to your regular program.
Thank you. Councilman Patel?
Thank you, Council President. My agendas are in order. I have one greeting and one announcement. Tomorrow is a Veterans Day, and I wish every veterans and their families a happy Veterans Day. Also tomorrow, that's Veterans Day, November 11th, Islim VFW Post 2636 will conduct its annual Veterans Day services at the Post Monument on Oath Avenue, located behind the Post building in Islim. The services will start at 11 a.m. Due to the ongoing COVID pandemic, social distancing will be required. There'll be only ceremony at that place, and no refreshments will be served. Also, in Indian calendar, there are two big celebrations. One is Diwali, and the other one is a New Year. Diwali is coming on this weekend on Saturday, and the New Year will be on the next Monday. I would like to wish everyone a happy Diwali and a very prosperous New Year. That's all for tonight. Thank you, Council President. Good night to everyone.
Happy Diwali.
Thank you.
Councilman Bauer?
Thank you, Council President. My agenda is in order. I have a few announcements. Tomorrow we celebrate Veterans Day to honor those who served our country in war and peace. On that note, Ford's VFW Post 6090 is holding their annual Veterans Day services at 11 a.m. at the corner of King George Road and Coryell Street at their monument. All social guidelines are in effect and everyone must wear a mask if attending. Please watch over those who are currently protecting and serving our country here and abroad. On behalf of myself and the Forest business community, a special thanks to our administration, Department of Public Works, and the Woodbridge Police Department for all their support last week at the FBC's annual Fall Festival Car Show / Trunk or Treat. Thank you to all our first responders, our essential employees, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mitch?
Thank you, Madam President. My agenda is in order. Thank you.
Thank you. Business Administrator Smaluka?
Thank you, Madam President. Under Administration and Finance, I have an overpayment on taxes refund. I have a parking permit refund. I have a 100% disabled veteran refund. Under Police, I have a traffic ordinance amendments. Under Planning and Development, I have a refund from the current fund, and I have a refund from the Developers Review Fund, an ordinance for implementing the master plan amendment zoning for the Hungarian Club. Under Public Works and Engineering, I have a release performance for a bond for 354 Cliff Road and 350 Cliff Road. I have a change order number 1 for DPW building site improvements, and I have a change order number 1 for a milling and resurfacing program in areas 1 through 5. Also, for next meeting, I will have an appointment nominee for the Oak Tree Road SID. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Legal?
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.